Hey nerds, what's up? I'm makeupless because, as you can kind of see, and by the new placement, I'm going to do my makeup while I talk about a book that I just recently read, and this is going to start off as spoiler free, but then we will get into spoilers at some point, for The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, hence why I'm wearing green. I didn't have emerald green, I don't look good in that color, but I do have olive, so that's what we're gonna do, and let's get right on into this. Just so you know, I have not planned exactly what I'm doing with my makeup. I just know that I'm gonna do it while I talk about the book, and I also know that I'm gonna do something green because it's Evelyn Hugo. Let's start off with my concealer. So I really enjoyed this book, and I didn't know that I was going to love it as much as I did. Everyone who's read it on, like at least on the channels that I watch, have been loving it. I know Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads really loves this book. I had just been hearing a lot of rave reviews, and so when Bibliobook made a challenge for reading something with green on the cover, it's a bright green book, so I picked it up. I listened to the audiobook of it. Don't know why I didn't know, but I didn't know that I was going to love it as much as I did. So like, to put this in perspective, I never listen to an audiobook and read the book at the same time. I don't do that. I like listen to audiobooks in the car. I listen to audiobooks sometimes when I'm cleaning, like my apartment and stuff. Like, I have to be doing something else while I listen or else I lose focus. But towards the end of reading this book, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have any like errands to run or anything, so I couldn't get in the car. I had nothing to clean anymore, but I wanted to read this book. So I sat down and listened to it with my headphones on while Matt was home, and then picked up the book at the same time and was reading it because I didn't want to not listen to the audiobook either. I highly recommend the audiobook if you're looking to pick up this book, and I forgot foundation. Basically just giving you an idea of like how this book took over my life during the Bibliobook. And like, I had also heard this before, but I didn't think that this book was going to affect me the way that it was affecting other people, and I don't know why. I guess like the general plot synopsis didn't seem as interesting as everyone seemed to be like hype-wise. Like it didn't seem like it was gonna be that great. Like that great. But yet it was. So if you don't know what this book is about, it follows this character named Monique who gets asked to do Evelyn Hugo, who was a famous movie star, and she's now like in her late 70s, and she's been a movie star since she was like 20 or something. And Monique is just a run-of-the-mill, not super fancy journalist who like is looking for her big break basically. She's in her 40s, it's not like she's young, but she's been in the game a long time, but just has never hit that moment. And Evelyn Hugo requests her specifically to do her biography. And Monique is like, what? But as the story goes on, she obviously does it. So you're listening mostly to Evelyn Hugo tell her life story about the 7 husbands. She was a pretty scandalous movie star, being born in like 1938 and having 7 husbands. And so she tells this story, and like we end up finding a lot about like obviously the scandals within her marriages, as well as like things that we didn't know. So listening to this book, I wanted to be able to look up Evelyn Hugo's movies, and like there's sections in the book where they like give you a little article clip of like things that the like different newspapers and stuff are saying about Evelyn Hugo at the time that we're getting her story. And I wanted to be able to like look that shit up or like look at pictures and stuff, but obviously Evelyn Hugo doesn't actually exist, so it was just so frustrating and amazing at the same time. Like, I still am baffled by the amount of obsessed I am. Basically, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm surprised at how much I liked this book. And I don't exactly know why I'm so surprised that I liked it, but like, I am surprised that I liked it. I think anyone and everyone should read it. There's obviously the bisexual rep in this book too is freaking amazing. Even with, you know, adding on to this like historical aspect, I still felt like the bisexual rep in this book is one of the best. Maybe second only for my personal experience, second only to Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. That one has great bisexual rep as well. I highly recommend it for that as well. I have nothing bad to say about this book, like nothing bad. So I highly recommend you go read it and then come back and we'll talk about spoilers in just a second here. But I want to make sure that if you haven't read it, I don't want you to get spoiled because I want you to like experience the book the way it's supposed to be experienced. So don't watch this if you haven't read it yet and you want to read it, because you deserve to get all of the surprises given to you when the book wanted you to get them. And now we're gonna talk about some spoilers. Holy shit! So I knew that there was bisexual rep in it, obviously, and so I knew that like we were gonna get some, not all of the husbands. Like I knew that there was gonna be a love interest that was female, at least one. And I was so happy with that. That wasn't all that like surprising to me. But like I was amazed at how much they made me fall in love with fucking Dawn. That was my first hard-hitting sadness, which I'm assuming that like Taylor Jenkins Reid obviously did that on purpose. We meet Dawn and it's this, well, we meet the first husband first. I don't even remember his name. He was lame. She meets Dawn and I was like, obviously you know that he's not gonna be the forever, but I was like, man, like this guy is so cool and like he's like, they're so right for each other. And then they just were wham with the, it was 2 months before he hit me, and I was like, how dare you hit Evelyn, Hugo? It was such a shock because I hadn't been, you know, I knew that there was bisexual rep. I knew that we were gonna get some love and not love, and I was not expecting to get an abuse story. Not that they really ever go into detail, but I don't know why that moment was so intense, but like you're listening or reading, you're listening to this love story and like I was like, oh my god, he's so cute, and then just suddenly there's that line about how it was 2 months before he hit her, and I was like, I was literally gasped in the car while I was driving. Like I was not expecting that at all. Like I don't know what I thought was going to happen to make their marriage fall apart, but that wasn't it. I'm still bamboozled by it. I'm trying to pick my colors for my eyeshadow. So yeah, that was the first really big shock for me. I had no idea that there was trigger warnings for abuse, and so it blindsided me completely, and I think it was so well done. The way that she surprised you, although I do think it could be triggering, but I'm not triggered by it, so I thought it was really well done. The next person I'm thinking of is fucking Harry, and like her relationship with Celia and her relationship with Harry. And I want to talk about Harry first in general, the entirety of that, because I fucking love him. He was such a good guy. I'm literally emotional about this book. Like, these characters are not real, but here I am, like, tearing up over these not real characters. They're real in my heart. Oh, that's what the next one was. She got married in Vegas and then had it annulled, but got pregnant, and I fucking knew she was gonna get pregnant. The second that they mentioned the fact that she wasn't on birth control and he didn't use a condom, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. And I love that they included an abortion in this story. Like, that shit's never, I mean, I don't read a lot of adults, so maybe it's more prevalent than I think it is. I've not read many stories that include a positive abortion story, and like, I just loved how they did it. There's that whole little monologue that she says stuff about, like, it was one of the most emotional things that she ever did, but she doesn't regret doing it, and like, she knows that it was the right choice for her, and like all that stuff. And like, I loved everything about that. But then, okay, so Harry, and the fact that he's the father of her child. I fucking loved everything about Harry. Harry deserved so much more in this life. And when he died, I was so not ready. That's what the tweet is. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I freaked out on Twitter. I tweeted, I'm 85% into Evelyn Hugo, and do you understand how bamboozled I am that this book has taken over my life? I want Evelyn Hugo films and photos and scandalous articles to go look up, but they don't exist and I'm not okay. Then literally, seconds after I tweeted that, I was continuing listening and Harry fucking died. Or he got into a car accident and then later he dies. And I was so mad. So the tweet that says, excuse me, now I'm even more not okay because I listened to another minute and what is that? And I was not okay. Like, how dare they? How dare they? Honestly, like, they already had told us that Celia was dying, which I'll get to her in a second, but they had already told us that, and then they fucking kill Harry. Oh my god, I'm so emotional about it. Like, I don't understand how is Evelyn okay? Like, how did she survive? I mean, I know she chooses to die when she chooses to die, but she didn't commit suicide, or die by suicide, I should say, due to being depressed. She chose to die at that time because she didn't want to go through breast cancer, and she knew that she had no chances to survive it and everything. And those are not the same reasons, you know? I like cannot get over how hard that must have been. Her, like, I'm like literally emotional. Wow, that's a lot. I'm like so angry that Taylor Jenkins Reid did this to me. I can't believe I'm crying while doing my makeup over these characters, but you know, that's what it is. That's what life is. Celia, like, just everything about Celia. I loved that whole relationship. I loved that we had these dichotomies between, you know, Celia wanting to tell the world, but Evelyn knowing that that was not like a good idea for them. And like realistically, she was probably right, even though it was sad, and like Celia wasn't okay about it, but man. I guess the one thing that I did have to kind of not complain about, but like that I was like, was because when Evelyn is talking to Celia and they decide that it's okay that Harry and her have a kid, Celia said something about like, you know, that's not what I want. And I was like, I mean, you get to be Aunt Celia, but like, and also because of the way that they were doing their lives, it worked better for them, or it worked okay for them than it would in the real world. It was not a normal relationship as far as like the way that, you know, they were acting in public versus in blah blah blah. So that's fine, but it was kind of weird. That's my one complaint, I guess, but overall still. I just loved like how it was like two stars circling each other, and they kept having to come back. I absolutely loved that. I hate, excuse you cannot have. I hated that the last husband before the brother, I hated him. There were a lot of them that I was just like, you're pointless. Yeah, I got that in my mouth. Ugh. I loved a lot of everything about this book. I loved like her relationship with her daughter and Harry's relationship with their daughter. I loved that. Like, oh man, Harry. So I had been waiting to find out what the relationship was between Monique, the woman doing the interview, and Evelyn. I was like, okay, if Evelyn was a man, then obviously it would have been that he was her real father. But she has a mom, so unless the mom was in on the secret, it wouldn't have been that Evelyn was her mother. When we had that abortion story, I was like, oh, like if that had been an adoption story, that could have been her, but it's not. I could not figure that story out. She asked her mom if her dad would have known Evelyn Hugo, and she doesn't, her mom's like, no, and all this stuff. And then dude who Harry was in love with was her dad, and I cannot believe. I loved that Evelyn was like, don't paint me, you know, don't paint me as this awesome person because I'm not. And she's like regularly reminding her that she's not a good person, and then wham, she really isn't a good person and she let Monique's father die. I was so bamboozled, as if I thought that it couldn't get any more intense. We finally find that out, and there was a moment in time, I remember, where I was like, I forgot that I was still curious about that because there was so much other stuff going on. Celia died, and then eventually Robert, you know, gives, I think his name was Robert, the brother, gives Evelyn and Hugo everything, and then, man, it like just kept going and going, and then all of a sudden we're back, and then we find out that he was the dude in the car that Evelyn let stay, and I was bamboozled, and I don't really know what else to say other than that. You know what I love about having short hair? I can put lip gloss on and not get my hair stuck in it. That is basically all of my feelings, or a lot of my feelings, I should say, about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't get how it's so good. Like, I honestly am so confused about why it was so good. And that's all I have to say about it, I guess. Like, I don't know what else to say, but man, so if you've read it and you're still with me, tell me your favorite part, your least favorite part, your least favorite character, your favorite character, which husband did you love the most? Was Celia a good person? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her. Like, I mean, she was a good person, but there were also some weird shit going on. Maybe I'm just on Evelyn's side even though I shouldn't be. Maybe it was really Celia who should be rooted for or something. I don't know, but let me know in the comments what you thought of this book because I was obsessed with it, and now I'm going to show you a close-up of this makeup that I just put on, so here you go. That's my makeup. This is my Evelyn Hugo outfit. I do like green. My couch is green, but not the color green that Evelyn would have worn. So with that, I bid you a goodbye. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I make videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so I'll see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye!